Hey guys, it's Josh from Cardboard Connoisseurs, here with my main man Carl, to bring you another commentated video of round 2 of our Win-A-Box tournament. It could even be a boat! Sponsored by Scrollrack and hosted by Game Night of Columbia, Tennessee. Appreciate you hitting that like and subscribe, and today we have... going first, we have Evolution, opening hand being a Rejuvenating Springs, Tundra, Phyrexian Metamorph, Mental Misstep, Resculpt, Llanowar Elves, and Lightning Bolt. And then we have our Kenrith player with Pact of Negation, Sylvan Library, Birds of Paradise, Phantasmal Image, Lion's Eye Diamond, Veil of Summer, and Marsh Flats. And then we have Vadrik, opening hand Mountain, Mind Stone, Whirlwind Denial, thank you, Command Tower, Steam Vents, and Mystic Remora.
On a mold to 6, looks like.
Mold to 6 for the man. And then we have Light-Paws with 2 snow-covered plains, strong play, Chrome Mox, Unquestioned Authority. Oh no.
Michiko's Reign of Truth,
Karn the Great Creator, and Shield of Duty and Reason.
No idea what half those cards do, but that is Light-Paws for you.
We are going to find out together today, folks, and let's get the action started. Mm-hmm. We got the Evolution player just throwing out the springs and slamming the Llanowar Elves and saying, go for it.
Who can complain about that kind of turn 1 untapped land into Mana Dork on your Thrasios and Bruce deck? You're gonna want this game to go long. You're gonna see counterspell focused player in Vadrik here, and kind of a combo-y player in Kenrith. Light-Paws playing very differently than the rest of these decks. A Voltron deck can be kind of hard to deal with. I assume that Kenrith will run some interaction that can get rid of Light-Paws, but it's hard to say. In these 5-color decks, sometimes their card quality is just so high they don't actually run interaction. They just kind of force their win out.
Yeah, Light-Paws has really heavy hands, and I've seen this particular list of Light-Paws with this particular pilot make it to top 4 a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely very hard to play against if you do not know what's going on. They can put an aura into play that doesn't really seem that threatening, and then go reach out something that blanks your removal for the rest of the game before you can respond to it, right?
Yeah, basically the idea is I get protection from everything, and the more enchantments I put on this thing, I just get more and get stronger.
Yep. Of course, it does insta-die basically to Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, because it can't give it protection from white without losing all of your auras. But, those aren't exactly the most played cards in Commander. We do have 2 decks here that could theoretically play it, not counting Light-Paws itself, of course. But it, you don't see it all the time. Thrasios Bruce, definitely a deck that would lean towards running it, though.
Yeah, anything can happen at these tables.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a turn 1 Droneth, locking out. God. Vadrik. Yeah, Vadrik basically cannot function without its commander. So Droneth being put down on turn 1 here with no response. Very, very bad.
Yeah, you can go ahead and buckle up, kids. We'll be here a while.
Yeah. Because without its commander, Vadrik is basically a deck running a bunch of cancel spells, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. You have no inevitability because no one's casting a bunch of spells when they can't cast their commander. You have no cost reduction on your otherwise terrible spells either. So just very, very bad for you as the Vadrik player. Of course, also bad for the Bruce and Thrasios player. Not as bad for the Kenrith. You can typically win without your commander. Winning typically involves putting your entire deck in your hand or something like that, and then casting your commander. Although sometimes your commander is a necessary part of an infinite mana combo or something to that effect.
I love watching people scramble to use the life counter.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel as bad when I do it.
Mm-hmm. And Phyrexian Metamorph, I didn't catch what it copied there. It looks like he indicated that it was Draneth Magistrate.
Oh,
just so that no one gets to play.
We're doing 1/3s today.
Obviously, Dryneth Magistrate extremely strong against Light-Paws. That's again, that deck is basically just the commander. If you're playing a bunch of awful auras to stick them on Dryneth Magistrate, you're probably not going to get a whole lot done. A very bad fish so far too, drawing a single card off of a Sylvan Library cast. But not really that bad to keep it around. You're not going to be casting your commander anytime soon. You might as well just play some lands, draw some cards. Hopefully you can ramp up to playing those terrible counter spells and maybe forcing through some removal on this Dryneth Magistrate. I'm guessing a deck like Vadrik probably runs Lightning Bolt. Maybe even Pyroclasm, Anger of the Gods, some kind of wraths like that. A lot of spells definitely opened up in Vadrik just because that mana reductions makes a lot of bad spells not quite as bad.
Yeah, it makes it a lot playable right out of the gate with the static ability.
Right.
Okay, so we're just going to soup up Magistrate and we're going to get in there. That's what we're doing today.
Yep.
Not a terrible plan.
Okay.
Even if it is removed, there is another Magistrate waiting in the wings.
Dryneth Magistrate getting protection from creatures here. An interesting choice. I guess that means that he can swing through unimpeded, or he can block forever. Probably having this Dryneth Magistrate is going to make him a target. Of course, there's 2 Dryneth Magistrates out right now, so we at least spread that hate between 2 different players. Phyrexian Metamorph definitely easier to kill because of a Braid just being that much more of a dangerous or useful card in cEDH, right? Hitting a lot more things than... Oh, there's the Bolt.
Yeah, I've seen an uptick in Bolt just because of all of the great creatures that have been printed.
Yeah, for sure. You see a lot of combos now winning with Dockside loops through Emil the Blessed. You see Thrasios, Tymna a lot. It kills all of that. You see Hermit Druid with these Kenrith combo decks. Right, Vadrik right here would be killed by a Lightning Bolt. Maybe you could snipe a Light-Paws in response to an aura with Lightning Bolt. Definitely a lot more value than it used to be with more creatures appearing in this meta here. You also see increases in stuff like Pyroclasm. If you look at this board right now, right, you see Pyroclasm right here would be,
brutal.
For Vadrik, a
brutal.
one-sided 3 for 0 basically, right? Killing Birds of Paradise, killing Elvish Mystic, killing Line of War Elves, all for a single mana with Vadrik.
Yeah, burning all the birds.
Yeah, potentially also killing Light-Paws, Hermit Druid, stuff like that.
You see Kenrith here just bleeding out for greatness. Greatness at any cost right now. And that's how I am with Sylvan Library. I can't lie. I'm just murdering myself to draw cards because it feels good.
Yeah, a very interesting hand that we see in Kenrith as well. Some combo-y pieces, some stacks pieces that he's holding back, which is very strange. He must want that birds to make specific colors of mana. Always in these 5-color decks, you have your mana a little bit constrained. You want to be casting counter spells, but you've also played a Bayou. We say Calling Ritual off top looks very, very good here. Hits Chrome Mox, Elvish Mystic, 3 of his own permanents, sure, but Fish, all the mana dorks, Thrasios, going to generate a lot of mana if he's allowed to cast that.
And the logic could be something like, nobody's going to wheel. You have a mono blue deck. You have Evolution that's not going to play it. Maybe Vadrik has a wheel. But
yeah, but he's probably paying for Fish, right? You got to imagine he's paying for Fish. Or he's going to let Fish die and tap 3 to cast his commander because you really want to be farming those not casting spells, casting 2 spells, right?
Yeah, he's definitely a mad lad.
Yep. If people just stay back like Kenrith did last turn, just try to hold up counter magic, or if people are playing double spells a turn, like the Thrasios Bruce player is doing and playing out a bunch of mana dorks, there's a lot of chances for it to go to day and night and get counters on that Vadrik. And typically you only need 2 or 3 counters on Vadrik to basically have all your deck unlocked. Turning those cancels into 1 mana counter target spell, turning a bunch of draw spells into 1 mana draw 3 or 4 cards.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like hosting these or running them, because you see so many odd decks. Like I've never heard of Vadrik. ever until
definitely.
right now in this moment.
Yep.
But it does seem sweet. It does seem like there's some magic there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of chance when you're working with a local meta too to kind of brew something up that specifically targets a lot of decks. We see in these local tournaments, Godo doing very well, Light-Paws doing very well. A lot of monocolored decks that are fairly straightforward in their plan of cast commander, win game, right? So you see stuff like Drannith Magistrate having a little bit higher value than normal. And even stuff like Mindbreak Trap really taking out those explosive Godo plays of like Jessica's Will into Rock Godo or something like that.
And it really checks your knowledge, because if you're just, the average player does have tunnel vision, just focusing on the database and the metagame and all that stuff. And, those monocolored decks, they're literally made to fight the meta. So
For sure.
Tailor-made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you do see a lot of players like targeting stacks players, stuff like that. You can really easily sneak out a commander here that people don't really necessarily know what to do against, and then surprise them with big turns on Vadrik. If he draws 6-7 cards in a turn off a couple mana, no one's going to be really prepared for that. You might not have Kenrith, say, holding up counter spells, or the Bruce Thrasios player holding up counter spells. We have a Ledger Shredder into play. Definitely looking for people to cast 2 spells a turn between Vadrik and Ledger Shredders. This 2 cards a turn tribal. We're gonna see a Crom out of him. It's in his colors.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That was the whole basis of the deck. It's just secret Crom.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen hilarious secret Godo lists.
Oh yeah. The Rocco Godo lists are very fun too. Yeah.
Very fun.
A lot of thought here, a lot of cards in his hand from that fish. Feeling him not very well this first turn cycle, but the second turn cycle giving him quite a lot of cards.
And I mean, we still have the Drannith on the field, or the fake imposter Drannith,
yep.
And it just really speaks volumes on like how important artifact removal is between stacks. And then this corner case of the Metamorph.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. That's why people run a Braid, right? It hits so much stuff. Phyrexian Metamorph, obviously, in this scenario. Yeah. But more common stuff being like Trinisphere, big mana rocks like say Basalt Monolith against the Kinnan decks, Scrollrack maybe against Yuriko decks. There's quite a lot that it can hit, actually. Static Orb, Winter Orb against the kind of parity breaking stacks decks like Urza or Yorn.
And then we have Light-Paws casting Savine's Reclamation
to get back Drannith Magistrate.
I mean, we're just punching each other in the dick today,
I gotta
boys.
imagine that favors the Thrasios player very heavily. He already has his commander into play. He has his own Drannith Magistrate. There's just another Drannith Magistrate target on the board now that says, hey, I'm not going to be casting my commander because he's already out. Why not destroy his commander first, or his Drannith Magistrate first, so that he can't cast Light-Paws, right? It gives you a negotiation tool to keep your own Phyrexian or a Drannith Magistrate as Phyrexian Metamorph into play a little bit longer, unless of course someone has a Braid, which in this case could also target Drannith Magistrate. So
yeah. And I mean, Bruce is completely capable of coming out and punching, but today he'll stay at home and rub his belly.
Yeah, I think you're very happy here just to sit back on Thrasios with people kind of stacked out of comboing out, right?
Yeah, just get all that card selection you would ever want.
Yeah, I mean just tap 4, put a land into play every couple turns until you get 8 mana is very realistic here, right? Very, very much a possibility right here. We do see an Ancient Tomb, so we might be seeing Culling Ritual coming out. That would destroy a lot of his own board, but it's going to generate a ton of mana and get rid of the Drannith Magistrate.
And Savine's Reclamation, that copies on flashback.
So it doubles on flashback,
Doubles
right?
on flashback, but the original has to resolve for you to get a copy. Or the copy resolves.
So it doesn't copy, it just returns 2, I think, if you flash it back.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. And he's definitely not going to be flashing that back anytime soon with a Culling Ritual coming out. blowing up that Dryneth Magistrate and his Chrome Mox, which is his 3rd mana source right now. I gotta imagine this gets countered, right? Because this is just terrible. Yeah, for everyone. Paying with Mana Vault. Very interesting.
He's a risky boy.
Really, really odd not to try to float mana with Birds of Paradise here in response. Basically, I guess he's just saying, like, if this resolves, I am so far ahead, I don't think I even care.
He's snorting a table of cocaine called Sylvan's Library.
Yeah. All right, trying to discuss how Phyrexian Metamorph works here. I believe that comes into play as a copy of Dryneth Magistrate, so it would have a 2 mana value here.
Okay, we're going to float some mana.
Floating mana.
And then everything gets blown up.
Yep.
And he gets he gets the Golgari equal to things that are blown up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, he can stop killing himself with Sylvan Library.
Yeah. Eventually tapping that birds for a white as the Thrasios and Bruce player taps his creature for a green mana, remembering, oh yeah, I can do that too, can't I? Thankfully, the white mana allowing him to cast Kenrith, because if he had forgotten about that, Culling Ritual obviously only makes green and black. So not super useful when you want to cast a commander that has white in his casting cost.
And that's why I always encourage people to get into other formats, because it's hard to see the details, like the little tiny advantages, you know.
Right, yeah.
Like, yeah, he tapped his elf and didn't get anything out of it, but he could have.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Veil of Summer would have been, very, very possible if you're used to playing Modern, right? Tapping that and having a Veil of Summer up before a Wrath could be very useful. Could come up a lot.
It is now daytime, folks.
Yep, and he has that Vadrik out. His spells are discounted by 1, and there's a Mox Ember in play. I am excited to see this deck kind of do some stuff, because Vadrik, a very, very cool deck in cEDH. Very, very boring deck in Historic Brawl, but who cares, right? That's some arena bullshit. The cEDH list actually very neat.
Kenrith just coming out here with the shades on, just saying it's party time. Everybody come out and play.
We are cracking a fetch in response to Light-Paws. It looks like he's letting it resolve and letting the Light-Paws engine go. He just wants to save some time getting a card out here. He says, you know what, Light-Paws with 3 lands, is that really that scary? It probably is.
He will punch you to death.
Yeah. But right now, obviously, Kenrith on the battlefield, on an empty battlefield with about to be 5, presumably 5 lands untapped, a chance to generate a ton of value off Kenrith. Even just drawing a card a turn, if you don't know if he has the 5th land or not, very, very valuable.
And if this is inspiring you to go out and play Light-Paws, please, please have good threat assessment, because you are killing people slowly. You are not Godo, you are not Heliod. You are swinging for the fences each turn.
Oh, a 1 mana counterspell. I do not know what that does. It doesn't seem like Light-Paws does either. He's definitely doing something, though.
We're going to trust that. Okay.
All right. It counters something. It does some kind of counter. That's awesome. All right. Good threat assessment against Light-Paws.
He politely says, eat it, and then the turn passes.
Yep. If this is just a Thrasios or a Bruce here from the Thrasios Bruce player, I think that you're okay. Maybe he has something a little bit more threatening, but he is definitely in rebuild mode right now, losing probably the most off of the Culling Ritual, except for the Kenrith player himself, who obviously recovered a little bit by casting his own Kenrith.
Yeah, and Kenrith obviously just having all of the good options. We only have access to limited amount of colors. We got black, green, and blue over here for the Kenrith player, but still. It's just, there's a lot of abilities tacked onto that.
I mean, with Kenrith, blue and black is all you need. Black unlocks your reanimation. Blue unlocks the card draw, where you can draw into other colors.
And he's ready for a long game. I mean,
for sure, yeah. If you're calling Ritualing on turn 3, 4, whatever turn that was, I believe it was turn 3, based on the land count here. You're locking in for a game that's going to last 6, 7 turns, which can be like an eternity in cEDH, right? Giving your opponent 3 turns, that's a lot of turns. When you get to those turns where you have 6, 7 mana on the battlefield, you can play something game-ending like Underworld Breach or Ad Nauseam and have counterspell backup ×2, ×3, maybe.
What is Okay, so no spells are cast.
Yep.
So it is now night.
It is now night, and Vadrik gets a +1/+1 counter, discounting all spells by 2. Now, if he plays 2 spells during his turn, we're back to day, and he is getting another +1/+1 counter, discounting all of his spells by 3, and that's when you see Vadrik really go nuts.
That is insane.
Tons of draw spells that will draw you 2, 3, 4 cards with 1 single mana. That appears to be a Mind Stone.
Yeah.
Mind Stone on Vision there, getting torn out of his head by Thanos. Spoilers for Infinity War if you are the one person who hasn't seen a Marvel movie in the past 7 years.
If you are Patrick Star underneath your rock in Bikini Bottom and had not seen the great Endgame.
I'm sure if you haven't seen Infinity War by now, you're one of those people who do not want to watch it and are very proud of that you don't want to watch it. So
I don't want to talk to you.
You can go blow yourself. He is returning a card to his hand with a mystery flashback card. That seems like it's probably pretty bad, but for 2 mana, obviously a lot better than it would be for 4 mana. He just wants to get that second spell cast so that he can put another +1/+1 counter on Vadrik.
He's master of both the sun and the moon.
Is that a Spirit Mantle?
I don't think
No,
so.
Eternity Vessel, maybe? I can't exactly read
I think
what
the
that
second
says.
word is wind
Okay.
or ward.
Ward. Interesting.
Something ward. Let's say it's strong.
Yep.
Well, it's gone.
It's gone.
Also, if you haven't seen WandaVision, quality show.
For sure.
Because I was in the camp of they never really did Vision justice, and then watching that show, that kind of made up for it.
Yep. As a big X-Men fan, it's good just to see a lot of Scarlet Witch doing stuff. So Multiverse of Madness also excellent for me. No spoilers for that one because that is actually rather new.
Okay, we see Thrasios come out, and I think he just passed the turn after that.
Mm-hmm. No land tap for Thrasios. I wonder if he just forgot. Is something else happening? He is reading this mystery counterspell here. I wish I could read the mystery counterspell too. Do not recognize that one.
But that's part of Brewer's Advantage.
Oh, it appears to be Power Sync based on what they're saying.
Okay.
So if they don't pay X, taps all of your lands.
Gotcha.
We have a Phantasmal Image out here. Very, very good with a Reanimating Kenrith, which of course he doesn't have the 5th land at the moment in play. I see an Otawara in his hand, so he could have access to that. Phantasmal Image copying maybe a Vadrik? It's hard to say.
Who's to say? I assumed it was Thrasios, but
he is looking at what the hell does Vadrik do? I don't think you want Thrasios because you already have 4 mana draw a card on Kenrith there. Maybe it's a little bit better if you're looking to hit lands, which he obviously is with just 3 lands in play, but okay. Looks like he maybe does copy Thrasios, trying to hit those extra lands. You see a Mana Drain in his hand.
he had Force of Negation as well.
Yeah, not playing Otawara. Very interesting.
Pact of Negation.
Pact of Negation, yes. Can't play Pact of Negation right now. Didn't play the Otawara. Very, very curious about why he did not play that Otawara.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I guess he is just very, very scared of this Light-Paws. That is a way to blank Light-Paws with basically no way for him to stop that, right? That's a colorless channel ability.
Yeah, and one that you cannot really...
Right. Very
cannot
useless
respond to.
Jeweled Lotus, but that will make it much easier to turn it into day with Vadrik here. We know he has that flashback, return target card from your graveyard to your hand spell in his graveyard. It probably costs a hot 1 now, if not less. Well, probably not less because I'm sure it costs some colored mana. But
if I'm Kenrith, I guess I am worried about Light-Paws considering my life total is so low. I mean, he could just start swinging and then just decide that I'll kill this guy first. He's the lowest life total.
Right. Also, if you're on Adnaz or just any kind of... You have an Ancient Tomb in play, right? Like, that chip damage could hurt you over time. And just with Kenrith on the board, Phantasmal Image copying someone else's commander, you are kind of a big threat. Right, everyone knows what Kenrith does. Kenrith's no mystery to cEDH. Vadrik, a little bit less seen. Light-Paws, a little bit less seen. Bruce Tarl, probably a little bit less seen. Everyone knows what Thrasios does, of course, but you're not afraid to be beat down by Thrasios, right? Kenrith plus Thrasios. Those are both problem commanders that you both see in play very easily. Definitely a concern.
Oh, well, I think we got a tutor here.
Yep, that looks like it might be some kind of Open the Armory style card.
Exactly.
It is Open Armory.
I love that art.
Yep.
But for what shall he get?
Does this resolve too? Vadrik posturing a lot, right? You haven't seen him draw really any cards.
That's what I was about to say.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not got a full grip.
Yeah, and he did not flashback that card in his graveyard to put first of all to turn night into day and to put another counterspell in his hand. You gotta assume that he's up to something. Then he wants all of his mana for 6 mana. All spells is kind of by 3 with Vadrik. What could he possibly be casting? My thought would be that he's holding up a Pull for Tomorrow or something like that. Maybe a Stroke of a Genius or Blue Sun Zenith, one of those X mana draw a lot of cards spells.
He's just sitting there watching Vision suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody reading Thrasios this game.
Very interesting. You see Vadrik, you see Light-Paws. Those are cards that you kind of want to read. Thrasios? People know what Thrasios does, I thought, but...
He's been around for a minute, but
yep.
Maybe it's just weird with the look at it, put the land into play, or just draw the card.
Yep. All right. There is a Aura'd up Light-Paws.
With a mystery aura.
Yep. Can't see what that does. The art kind of looks like Tanglewire, but that is not Tanglewire because Tanglewire is neither white nor an enchantment.
Yes.
He is casting the not Tanglewire on his Light-Paws and going to tutor up a mystery card. Or is he still searching his library? Right? It doesn't look like he's tapped mana yet to cast that mystery card. I can't see how much it costs, and maybe it costs 1 white. Okay. Looks like we have Daybreak Coronet here.
That's a good one. If you are not familiar with the Boggles list in Modern, that is a doozy. You have to have an aura already attached, +3/+3, lifelink, and probably something else.
First Strike, I think. First Strike, Vigilance, lifelink. Maybe.
Yeah, insane for 2 mana.
Yes.
The only stipulation is that you have to already have an aura attached to said creature.
Revealing Chrome Mox with Thrasios. Interesting. I think he put the other card to the bottom and just flipped that off the top. You can't be that happy about that, but you're probably also not going to be that sad. He probably has a bunch of useless cards in his hand that he would rather turn into Thrasios mana.
Yeah, he's probably trying to dig for, classic Seaborn Muse or a cost reduction to the
Training
Thrasios
Grounds, Biomancer's Familiar.
activation. Yeah. He's got the finale in hand.
Yep.
So now he just needs to assemble his pieces and go to town.
Is that a Seaborn Muse in his hand too on the right? I'm not sure. No, that is finale. Yeah.
That is a dinosaur.
Perhaps a seaboard dinosaur, though. We don't know.
Yeah.
Just passing turn. This Vadrik has to be so concerned with this day-night cycle and missing so much. But who's to say? Maybe we're going to see a huge draw spell here that's going to let him take over the game. We do know he has a couple good counter spells in his hand. What is he up to here? Passing turn? Mystical Tutor at end of turn.
Okay. I mean, there is something to be said about laying low, but yeah, I would. It's definitely time to get all the value you can.
Yeah, I'm interested in what he's going to Mystical Tutor for. If you can cast 2 spells here, flip night into day, that's probably pretty beneficial from him. Maybe he casts Mystical Tutor, draws into the Mystical Tutor card.
Looks like he's still okay. We're seeing if it resolves.
Yep.
And
mental
it is going to get eaten.
misstepping the Mystical Tutor. Looks like he jumped the gun a bit here with the Mystical Tutor search. Yeah. He casts a Whirlwind Denial, I believe, if my Japanese is good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
From the opener. And only paid 1 mana for it.
Yep, that's what we see Vadrik doing well. It does not pay 4 mana for the Mental Misstep. Why? Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Getting Electro Dominance.
Ooh, that's a spicy
I
one.
bet that most people do not know what the hell is going on with that, including me. Let's see what he does. Let's see what this crazy boy does. I know what Electro Dominance does, but I do not know what his plan is for it here. Maybe he's going to try to discount a big mana spell. Maybe he's going to sneak in a Planeswalker or something like that. Maybe even an Omniscience. You know, this is going to be a 5/6 Vadrik. Discounting this by 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If he plays a single land, he could cheat into play Omniscience.
Yeah, because it should be day now, right? Because there's 2 spells.
It is day. He casts 2 spells, Mystical Tutor and Whirlwind Denial.
Now he's just talking about how smart and sexy he is.
Yeah, that is more or less what he's saying. He's talking about his thought process through the Counterspell War there. I say Counterspell War. It was a single Mental Misstep that got canceled. I say it canceled. It's not a 3 mana Counterspell anymore. It is a 1 mana Counterspell. Basically 1 mana Flusterstorm times 4, which is pretty sweet. Draws the Electro Dominance, investigates, and doesn't look like he realizes that night became day, so he's going to be working at a little bit of a disadvantage here with Vadrik.
Ooh, sometimes Brewer's advantage bites you in the ass.
Mm-hmm. Flashing back that Mystery Graveyard Return card to get his Mystical Tutor back.
And it looks like the Evolution player might be out of counterspells, and Kenrith,
Well, he didn't pay for his Mental Misstep, pay for that Whirlwind Denial for his Mental Misstep, so you got to assume that he has something else. Maybe he was just trying to say, well, this player's probably not going to win. I'm going to try to activate Thrasios for 4 mana.
True.
This is not on his upkeep, right? Because he drew his Electro Dominance for turn. Of course, Vadrik drawing a lot of cards. Typically, we might see him just fire off a draw spell here, get this card off the top of the deck. We see, looks like there's some Breach Lines in his deck still. He's going to need a lot more cards if he wants to do some Breach Lines, unless he has the LED in his hand that I'm just not seeing. Is that Reverberate? Repeat? One of those fork style spells.
Yeah.
With buyback, copy target spell, right? The buyback here being functionally free with Vadrik, which is pretty awesome.
So we'll see if he's slinging any spells or what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Now people have got to be on high alert. They see a functionally free copy target spell card on the top of his library. They may not know what Vadrik does, but they do know that they do not want him to be casting spells for free.
Ring.
Haze of Rage.
Okay.
It has a buyback cost. And it has Storm. And it gives a creature +3/+0 until end of turn. So he's going to have a very big Vadrik that discounts his spells a lot. And there you see Mindback Truck coming out, as we mentioned earlier.
Jeez. That doesn't feel good.
Third spell a turn. Yep. Destroys all those storm spells. We talked about that being a great card in our meta because of just the number of spells being cast in a turn by these combo players and the general lack of interaction. He realizes that his Mystical Tutor puts it on top of his deck. Good catch there. Glad he wasn't trying to be a shady boy.
Yeah. There's not room for 2 around here.
Yep. Archon of Emeria going to stop future storm turns, but Vadrik can play the value game, just draw a bunch of cards at instant speed, play some counter spells, enjoy itself.
Yeah, probably not too worried about that. It's a little late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's pretty well developed.
Yep. Everyone's saying that they're basically not concerned about that buyback infinite loop there, now that Archon of Emeria is hitting the battlefield. Saying that they probably want to form a little coalition to let this resolve. They cast a Pact of Negation here. All right, their coalition is broken immediately, but actually, probably people don't have counterspells yet. Right, not a lot of counterspells to back this up. I think we saw that from the Thrasios player not really fighting over his mental misstep, trying to get some value in the Kenrith player not really doing a whole lot this game, just kind of sitting back and hoping that this 5/5, this Thrasios, can eventually snowball him back into the game.
Yeah, the Kenrith players in my tournaments just have the worst luck, especially on camera and especially with lands.
Yeah, he's still on 3 lands despite this being turn 5, I believe. Not playing Odawara though, so that's kind of his own fault. Maybe just not trying to draw a whole lot of aggro, trying to make it look like he is behind heavily on lands. Thrasios activation, we can see an Arid Mesa into play there. That's probably what you want to hit at this point where you're just trying to grind value out. You want to get that second Thrasios activation every turn cycle. Maybe make everyone else fight over some spells. Vadrik doesn't discount Pact of Negation, so you're assuming you're in a time walk from him. Maybe you can force him to play some counter spells against Kenrith.
Yeah, now's the time to definitely solidify and try to sculpt your hand as best you can.
Yep.
To put the final nail in the coffin.
Right, try to point that Light-Paws somewhere else instead of just hitting you in the face repeatedly. As a Sans Black player, you're not super concerned about your life total, especially with Bruce Tarl to help you gain it back. But you don't want to be hit if you can help it, right? Because that means that this 22 life Kenrith player is not being hit instead. He gets to use that Ancient Tomb for free. He maybe finds an Adnaz, or he maybe finds, Peer into the Abyss. Doesn't put him quite low enough for the Light-Paws player to take him out, or even the Vadrik player, right? That Vadrik's a 5/6 right now.
Yeah.
We gotta assume that this keeps growing. That this could be a 10 damage Vadrik at one point.
Yeah.
And that extra 2 life would put Peer into the Abyss at 11 instead of 10, right? So.
Not where you want to be.
Yep. Taiga into play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lands on the battlefield for the Thrasios player. Do we have a Soul Ring or something that can generate the mana up to 8 so that you can start grinding out a little bit more value and beating out that 7 mana finale for 5? We got to assume that is looking for a Seedborn Muse.
Yep, that is probably what is happening here.
Do we start fighting it over? If you have a mana drain here, this is a crazy mana drain target. But it doesn't look like anyone does, or they're not wanting to use it. I see Veil of Summer or Odawara in the Kenrith player's hand.
And I believe he still has this Pact of Negation, but that just kills him.
Yeah, right. You can't cast Pact of Negation right now unless you are okay with just shooting yourself. Seedborn Muse, passing the turn. This is definitely where you want to be as the Thrasios Taro player, right? Although you're going to probably draw a little bit more aggro from Light-Paws, but yeah, that's probably okay, right? Drawing a couple cards a turn, assuming that you hit a single line drop off of Thrasios this turn cycle.
Yeah, and confirmed, Phantasmal Image is definitely Thrasios.
Right, as we see him just activate Thrasios at the end of the turn there.
Yeah.
Flipping an Angel's Grace, or was it a Power Blast?
Power Blast was flipped, and then
gotcha.
Angel's Grace is the draw. See if it can help him out here.
Mm-hmm. Really, really, I think he should play that Odawara. It unlocks the Pact of Negation if things go real bad wrong. You don't want to be in a place where you're just trying to cast Angel's Grace to keep yourself alive, especially when you don't have any white mana, which I just realized that Kenrith still does not have because his white mana came from the Birds of Paradise that got Culling Ritualed about 6 turns ago.
Right. Pyroblast
in turn, pass Pyroblast into the graveyard. Very interesting play. Still feeling about the Odawara. Just desperately trying to get something going there for the Kenrith player. And day flips into night because no one cast a spell that turn. Single throughout Thrasios activation, no spells actually cast.
Wow. That's very interesting.
Yep. Turning his commander into a 4/4 during his upkeep. No counter spells. Really, no responses at all.
Interesting. Well, look, what, only 2 cards in hand?
2 cards in hand.
Because like we were saying before, he has not drawn a lot of cards.
Yeah, definitely very odd. We know one of those cards in his hand is the Fork spell, right? The copy target spell.
Right,
so the other card in his hand just can't be that great.
Yeah, he might have just got kicked off a cliff and might not be able to.
He got hit by a This Is Sparta. He has to pay for his pact of negation, of course.
Yeah, he basically just gets time walked here.
Yep. You hate to see it.
Cannot play the commander.
Yep, and it is. Is it dead again? Did he cast 2 spells?
I think. Is the mechanic still in play even though the card is not in play?
Well, the mechanic stays in play, yes.
Okay.
But I didn't see 2 spells cast, so I'm unsure.
He's just trying his best.
Yeah.
Just like anybody, you know.
Yep.
Can't knock him for trying.
Vadrik is a confusing card for a lot of people, I guess including the Vadrik player. Not that it really matters if it's day or night with his commander in the command zone. You're not getting any value off of that flip.
Something is happening to Thrasios.
I believe that's a suspension field, the passivism that makes you not be able to activate abilities, and also you can return it to your hand for a certain amount of mana.
Okay.
Yeah, basically a buffed up passivism that you can bounce to your hand.
Nice. Still locked in with 3 lands over there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got a search, we got a response. Activating Thrasios. Sees a Basalt Monolith.
Interesting.
That means he's probably running the Kenrith combo. Wielding a Swirling Mist, the Phase spell. See Ranger Captain and Chrome Mox still in his hand.
Activate again in response.
Mm-hmm. Is he going to phase his own Thrasios out to save it? Probably.
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe Light-Paws too. Who cares? Why not, right? 3 mana. Oh, probably a target towards Phantasmal Image as well, because that is a free kill spell.
Boom.
Yeah, there we go. Excellent play. This has got to be a counterspell coming out here, though.
He doesn't have it. No.
No, because counterspell doesn't save his Thrasios. Why would he counter this, right? 4 mana, just activate Thrasios.
Yeah. Because he just has the pact and.
That is a triggered ability off of Phantasmal Image, right? So you can't counter the fact that Phantasmal Image is going to die. Might as well just get another.
Did get his 4th land though.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Yep. Now we can pay for pact negation.
And he can always reanimate that for some more value.
Yep.
Maybe get his own Seaborn Muse or something.
Yep. Discussing how phased out work, it cancels those targets, does not knock off those auras.
Yeah, it stays the same. It's basically it went on vacation and it comes back.
Yeah, phase out, a very strange mechanic that probably should not have been brought back, but hey.
Here we are.
Yep. We had to have Dominaria, right? Why not? Blind Obedience. I don't know that does a whole lot here. Probably are not too going to complain too much about that life gain mechanic.
I played Keurig for a long time, and in monocolored decks, you kind of just take them. You know, you just roll with the punches. I'm going to play this suboptimal card at a suboptimal time. I have nothing better to do.
I mean, that's an enchantment that triggers Light-Paws, right? So
yeah, a little bit of life gain, a little bit of life drain.
Yeah, when you're playing 1 mana auras. Probably that Extort comes into play more than I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Playing a Ranger Captain of Eos. What does he get here, I wonder? Maybe a Esper Sentinel, maybe a Manadork, maybe a Ragavan. He can cast a Ragavan, right? Yes.
I definitely want a Sentinel right now.
I think the Sentinel's better because you definitely have opponents who present a lot of blockers, right? Light-Paws, Kenrith, Vadrik can even block off a single day-night flip.
Because he has his 2 Thrasios activations.
Yeah. Of course, maybe you just want more mana for more Thrasios activations.
True.
But I think Esper Sentinel does get you a little bit more ahead. Yes, there it is.
Could be running that Biomancer's Familiar.
Well, Biomancer's Familiar costs 2. That's why.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely he would get that if he could, but that is illegal.
Gaspers.
Maybe he can Esper Sentinel in... Neo form that into a Biomancer's Familiar, though. Who's to say?
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, just more raw card draw.
If the Madland stops him, then we can't stop him. Alright, so we got 4 mana untapped. We're going towards the end of turn. Does he want to tap out to activate that Thrasios? I do.
He wants to keep his Dispel up.
He's got Dispel in hand?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, he's coming in for attacks.
Yeah, he says, you've been hitting me, I'm going to hit you.
Okay.
You know?
He's feeling froggy, and he's going to go ahead and jump.
Yeah, he's indicating that he's going to tap those 4 lands. Which all of his opponents are tapped out fully, unless he's afraid of a slaughter pact or something here, which I don't think you really need to be that afraid of. Sees Red Blast.
Red Blast to the bottom.
Bottoms it, and flips a... Was that?
Vizier of Remedies.
Okay, the infinite mana guy.
Yeah.
Yep, goes infinite with Devoted Druid, he says. Well, he doesn't actually say what it does, but he reads the text, but you know what it does. You're a cEDH player.
Yeah.
We all are here, right?
That is a common modern combo, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Devoted Druid and Vizier of Remedies seeing a lot of play because you can Coco for it. And then you instant win with a Walking Ballista or something to that effect.
Yeah, just any kind of mana sink.
Yep. He says day is becoming night because you didn't cast any spells. Gonna flip a Deflecting Swat. Going to flip a... Was that Neoform?
I could not see it.
That is Neoform.
I was going to say, if it's Neoform, he should probably keep it.
He is keeping Neoform. Again, that Esper Sentinel can be turned into a Biomancer's Familiar very easily. You're at a point where a lot of people are just passing their turn without casting spells. You have a Vadrik player who's going to be paying X less for spells. You have a Light-Paws player who is stuck on land, so you're probably going to draw some cards off of him. He is casting Vadrik.
Comes into play tapped.
Not that that matters too much. Unless he's afraid of being beaten to death by Esper Sentinel. Plays the Lotus Petal. It's going to become day.
Lotus Petal asking if he's going to pay for Esper Sentinel.
Yep.
Probably not.
Nope. With Vadrik, you want to rebuild probably here. Keep up some mana to be able to cast those presumably counter spells. We know he has a copy spell. We don't know what else is in his hand. Would be interested to see it. Enlightened Tutor off the top for mana.
Yeah, and this is why Thrasios is just so famous. I mean, you're just burning and churning through that deck.
Yeah, every turn where someone does just like recast their commander or wants to draw a card at end of turn, you are just generating tons of value.
Yeah, you play your commander, I'll draw 4 cards.
Mm-hmm. Torpor Orb. With a World Gorger Dragon in the graveyard over here, can't imagine that Torpor Orb hurts too much, right? That is going to stop the combo. He does pay for Rhystic. Or the Esper Sentinel.
Rhystic Buddy.
Activates Thrasios. Worldly Tutor.
Yeah, Worldly Tutor.
What does he want to do with Worldly Tutor?
Probably want to keep that one too. I would imagine.
I assume you fire that off on upkeep, get a Biomancer's Familiar or something to that effect. You're already in such a strong position if you can just keep generating aggro. There was just a Stacksuits played that turns off the Kenrith combo, presumably.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So I don't see why you would not keep this. But, okay. Says to the bottom. Dranith. Not great here. Everyone already has a commander in play, but it stops Breach.
Yeah, it has its utility.
Yep.
Still looking at that Neoform in hand.
Yeah. Does he even want to counter Torpor Orb? I'm so confused as to why he wants to fight over this. Maybe he really wants to win off that Dockside Loop, which with Light-Paws into play, Dockside Loop typically pretty good.
We've seen the Emil in hand, so he's got half the combo.
Yep. Really, and he has Ranger Captain to protect it. Maybe he's just really, really locked into that Dockside Loop. With Lotus Petal, Mox Amber on the battlefield here, he's going to generate 5, which will let him go infinite. Of course, that Lotus Petal can be sacked to stop it, but
he's clearly been posturing up, and everyone knows he's the threat. Light-Paws will probably start swinging at him pretty good.
Yep. And then there is the Light-Paws attack. And we are going to cast an Enlightened Tutor at end of turn. Very interesting. What is he getting off this Enlightened Tutor? Maybe a Training Grounds? Training Grounds, for your Esper Sentinel.
Fucking wild.
Get a 1-mana Thrasios activation. You'll be drawing 8 cards a turn, which quickly turns into 9, 10, 11 cards a turn. you can't really complain about that. Maybe he gets a Smothering Tithe or something like that, but I think Training Grounds is probably the play unless he has a win in his hand that I'm not seeing. Oh, Swift Reconfig. Very...
Probably terrified of dying to the Light-Paws?
Maybe. Yeah, Light-Paws not running a lot of creatures. Not really going to be able to deal with that strict configuration at all.
You know that butthole is tight right now.
Yeah. Also, it kind of turns off Vadrik, right? He doesn't have power and toughness while he's a vehicle. So that functionally blanks his commander. Again, two of these decks not running basically any creatures.
Oh, he's just going for it.
Oh, he's going for it. Let's see it.
No response to the Ranger Captain crack.
Neoform Esper Sentinel. What does he have? He got Swift Reconfig.
So Swift Reconfig does go infinite with
Devoted Druid. So there's Devoted Druid.
Yeah.
Does he have a way to haste it up?
Swift Reconfiguration makes it a
vehicle.
Vehicle.
So it doesn't have Summoning Sickness.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Here he is explaining the combo.
Yep. Kenrith says, I do have a response, maybe? No? Okay, infinite mana, infinite Thrasios. This is a game win.
We'll see if they make him play it out here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has like a blocker apiece.
Yep. Does he win through this Torpor Orb? I mean, you gotta assume that he can draw. He has a Ranger Captain of AOS effect onto play. You gotta assume that he can just bounce that Torpor Orb with a Chain of Vapor or something like that, and then throw down a threat. That's his Oracle to win.
Yeah. We'll see how he does it though.
Maybe he just forgets about the Torpor Orb and tries to go for it.
That feels bad.
Oh, there it goes. Beseju, who endures. Goodbye. You can have a Plains if you like. Let's see. Thassa's Oracle. Let's see it. Let's see it.
The hand must not be great.
I mean, if you know your opponent's gonna win here, why delay?
Right.
Oh, so there's the Dockside Emil loop. Maybe.
There we see the Training Grounds at the bottom of the deck. Classic.
Yep. Okay, so he says he cannot win with artifacts due to the blind obedience. So he's got to rethink this strategy here. He's gotta have another way to win besides docksiding, right?
Well, he already finale'd, right? He already finale'd a Devastation.
Well, he has his whole deck in his hand, though, right? Infinite green. Does he not have a Scepter or something like that to make infinite any color?
Classic Thrasios. There we go.
Thrasios. Ewit.
Finale Devastation.
Yep. Ewit for finale for 1 billion. You have a Seedborn Muse, Thrasios, and Eternal Witness now. Well, the Eternal Witness is tapped, though. So you can kill 2 people.
But you fetch a boy off of Finale.
Yeah, well, presumably he doesn't need a boy off of Finale unless he has something that he can't cast with green mana left in his deck. I guess you can get something out of your graveyard, but what are you going to get? You have 2 mana dorks in there? Anything else? I don't really see anything. Curious as to what he does here.
I think he is too.
Yeah, I think this blind obedience really stopping his combo.
Classic Matt, am I right?
I see swords in his hand, Cannon, Spellseeker, Mystic Remora.
He's like, you guys are dead, okay? You guys are dead. Just let me figure it
out. Yeah, he doesn't have an extra turn spell. I mean, you gotta imagine that if you just finale for 20 million and kill everyone but Light-Paws, the Light-Paws isn't really going to stop you from winning.
Yeah.
Next turn with your hand 7 cards, Blind Obedience, Chain of Vapor.
Just like you were talking about.
There we go. What does he bounce? But if he bounces a creature here, he still can't kill Light-Paws, right? I guess he could play some other green creatures, mono green creatures from his hand to win with this Finale Devastation, which gives haste, right? It gives haste when it resolves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Only to the creature, I believe, that it slams into play.
Yep. He says, "Let me see that chain of vapor." He says, "I do get to see your whole hand. I don't know why. Oh, because he revealed it with Thrasios. Yeah, that's right. Remembering that Thrasios also puts all the lands in your hand into play."
Yeah. I think Light-Paws doesn't copy it here just because of all the counter spells. And...
I mean, it also just doesn't matter, right? Like, if you bounce something, he presumably still has a bunch of mana dorks in his hand that he can kill you with, right? He can kill you with Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we know about the Emil. He can just flicker whatever he wants.
Yeah, once Blind Obedience is gone, he can make infinite... Well, no, he can't make infinite treasures. Well, he can, I guess, because he only needs one in play because he has infinite mana, green mana off of Swift Reconfig. So now he's making 2 treasures. Well, does Emil have hybrid costs, green or white? Right, so he can make infinite mana of any color and win with whatever he likes.
Well, the blink is colorless.
Is it?
Yeah.
3 mana color.
It's just
really?
3 mana.
That's wild. Isn't the
and
counter?
Then the other ability.
The counter is what
the
costs
hybrid.
Okay, interesting.
It's a unicorn. It's one of a kind.
Yep.
And a reprint is coming.
Yes. See,
both Dockside and
spoiled
Emil.
today. Spoiled today.
That's got to be a hell of a limited format for Double Masters 2022.
Yep. If someone wins with Emil Dockside, I would be very impressed. I
don't know what you sink it into.
That's a 1v1 format, right? Double Masters draft.
Yeah.
Or is that just a set that's so expensive that no one's going to draft?
God, I hope so.
It's like $60 for a draft.
It was. We had pre-released Baldur's Gate, but we didn't do the 4-player. We just did 1v1.
Oh, interesting.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling that bulk gate.
Is that right? Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. The art's fun. The flavor's fun.
Yeah. I think people were excited to get a better draft set after Streets of New Capenna was so terrible, but Baldur's Gate not stepping up to the plate.
Nope.
Maybe Double Masters will be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I think everyone's still trying to figure out their line, but it's pretty solidified that.
Yep. Going to try to bounce the Devoted Druid, but make infinite green in response. I don't think that matters.
Yeah, I'll make 1 billion green.
Yeah.
You got it. Bounce that.
Yep. And the game is now over.
So you see here that, just Thrasios advantage alone grinded this game in his favor.
For sure.
Vadrik did not draw any cards. Light-Paws never really got off the ground because everyone was aware of their game plan, and then Kenrith simply just didn't have any lands.
Yeah, holding that Otawara for so long, very interesting play.
He was all dressed up, but with nowhere to go.
Yeah. See, it took him off of Pact of Negation, took him off stuff like that. Questionable, but some of these games, like we're saying, require a lot of metagame knowledge to get going.
And sometimes the Brewer's advantage with Vadrik, you don't know what he's up to. You don't know if that could come into play, if you could bounce him before something happens. But, those are 4D chess plays. We don't do those here. Well, appreciate you guys watching. That is round 2 in the books of our Win-A-Box. It could even be a boat.
Yep. There's Emil, and we just Dockside for infinite mana of any color now. Still trying to figure out how to win here.
We all feel smart. We all feel sexy.
Yep.
I'm sure Matt will figure it out by the end of the video.
There we go. Finale for 1 billion. He has 3 bajillion creatures, which is exactly enough with a handful of counterspells. He's saying, does this do like what I think it is? This kills you all, right? I have Jonathan Magistrate too. I have Vizier of Remedies. I have Grand Abolisher. I have Gilded Drake.
I have Gilded Drake.
Can I just
what
cast
do
some
you
creatures? Can I do this thing? I can get Kenrith with Gilded Drake, right? And then just make everything infinity, and have haste.
And now
I have Zerda. I have Fintornels. I have Noble Hierarch. I have Birds of Paradise. He's like, I have enough creatures to kill you.
He's taking everybody's lunch money currently.
Yeah. He says, are we cool? Do you like this line?
Are you having fun yet?
Yeah. He says, yeah.
Infinite lightning bolt.
He says, I can also just rebuy Lightning Bolt infinitely and kill you that way. Just please let us go on. You're dead, boy.
And with tears in their eyes, they let it go.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like and subscribe. Sponsored by Scrollrack, the cEDH recommendation bot. and hosted by Game Night of Columbia, Tennessee. And we will see you all in the next one. Thanks for sticking around.